to awaken and what not to awaken. First, we're going to start from our lowest tier fruits up to our legendary. So first we have Bomb. So now the thing with Bomb is that you're going to want to awaken absolutely everything except for the last move or the V. The problem with the V awakened is it's really inconsistent. Unlike the explosion unawakened, it's very consistent and usually does more damage than the awaken. Also, if anybody was curious on the price, 5, 15, 25, 50, 10, not that much. So the next fruit in line is Love. Now you want to absolutely keep everything awakened on Love. Love is perfect the way it is. It's really, really good for PvP, and it just overall is a really strong fruit. And in terms of just straight damage, everything awakened on Love is better by quite a bit. So definitely keep fully awakened Love. Also, if you guys were curious on the price, here you go. So Buddha is the next awaken and is also our most recent awaken. Buddha is good fully awaken. You want to basically awaken all of this. Now, the one thing I didn't check with Buddha is if you actually get more force with the unawakens, but you probably don't get any force with the unawakens. So I'm going to try that right now. If you guys were also curious on the price, here you go. Maybe around 400 gems it looks like. Probably 400, exactly 400 gems actually, I'm pretty sure. So we're just going to unawaken the last two moves. We're going to go over here and check if basically we get force. So yeah, we get 0 force, so yeah, you definitely want to fully awaken Buddha. Okay, next up we have Dark. So the only move that you want to unawaken is the first ability, Stone Barrage. Also, I'm pretty sure they changed it. Wait, so look at the way it looks and also how it sounds. I mean, it looks pretty cool. It also does, I obviously missed right there, but it actually does a lot more damage than the Unawaken, or the Awaken, excuse me. But if you unawaken it, you get like about 6,000 more damage, 5,000 more damage. But the Awaken actually has a pull, so you could actually pull them closer to you. But the range isn't really that good, so it's not like a crazy pull. But if you're trying to PvP, definitely keep the Awaken. If you just want straight damage, then go ahead and just leave Stone Barrage unawaken. So next up we have Venom. Essentially you want to awaken everything except for Shot and Hydra, which are the first two moves. And the reason why is because they come out so fast, and you can basically stack the first three moves on top of each other, which is what I'm about to show you right now, for some crazy DPS. So for the first three moves, right? Just the first three moves, right? 49,000 damage on top of the teleport, on top of the other moves. So Venom is extremely strong right now, especially if you unawaken those first few moves. It has very high DPS. Here is the price for Venom. It's very, very cheap, by the way, for very good DPS. Also, I didn't show Dark last time, so let me show Dark really quick. Here is Dark. So the only thing you really want to unawaken on Gravity is Meteor Rain, and I'll show you guys why in a second. But for PvP, you could unawaken the Pressure, which goes full AoE around you, which is really good for like melee builds and yeah, basically just full AoE stun around you like Quake. But you want to awaken it for just damage, and the strat is really to jump above the boss, unawaken meteors, by the way, stun so they stay in place, and then the meteors fall around them. Now, depending on how lucky you are, this could do really, really, really good damage, or it could just do mediocre damage. We did 52k with two moves right there, which is pretty dang good. Let's try it one more time. Usually Gravity one-shots, but maybe I just got a little unlucky right there. So yeah, 73,000 damage that time. So yeah, Gravity is definitely really, really good, and just basically awaken everything on it except for Meteor Rain. If you're trying to PvP, keep or unawaken Pressure. Also, here's the cost of Gravity. This was one of the cheapest fruits in the game, or the cheapest fruit in the game, but I'm pretty sure Bomb now takes that place, or Venom. Alright, next up we have OP V2, which is also one of the most recent awakenings. Now, the only thing you really don't want to awaken on Control for PvP, only for PvP, is Gamma, because in the air you can actually use it, you can teleport through people, and it also gives you good movement, and the damage isn't even that bad either. Now, this does replace the big rock that comes up from the ground, which is good DPS. So for just DPS, keep everything on, and then if you just want to PvP, just take Gamma. If you guys were curious on the price, here you go. Ice is definitely a fruit where you just want to fully awaken, to be honest with you. So also, there's a little bit of a glitch with the third ability. Oh, so yeah, I'm OP. But you can make it hit like 5 times like 50k, apparently. It doesn't really happen too often for me, but it's happened for me in the past. But it's pretty strong fruit. Definitely keep Ice all awakened, and then here is the price. Next up is Flame. So you definitely do want to fully awaken Flame, but before Flame actually came out, before like Flame V2 actually came out, Flame V1 was actually stronger than the Awaken we currently have now. Flame V1 did like 70k full combo. It was the strongest epic in the game. Now our Flame V2 is just kind of mid. It's just an alright fruit. I really wouldn't recommend this to anybody. It definitely could use some buffs. It's not the best fruit, but it's also not bad. If you guys are curious on the price, here you go. Next up, we have Magma. Now, Magma is the strongest DPS fruit in the game, and there is only one move on it that you want to actually unawaken, and that is Magma Floor. And Magma Floor, unawakened, is just a lot more consistent and better than the Awaken. The Awaken pushes them back, and it does low damage. It got nerfed quite a bit. So, the unawaken is actually now better. It does quite a bit of damage, too. It does 15, 16,000 damage, so it pairs really well with every other ability on Magma. They're all really, really strong, not a bad ability on Magma. Also, one more thing with Magma is the Unawaken ability, Annihilate, or the V for you guys, is a lot more consistent than Annihilate or the Awaken. But if you actually stun them with Magma Floor, Annihilate could do a lot more damage. But the reason why you actually want to keep Annihilate is because you could throw it out, and then while it's coming down, you can use Magma Floor like this, which keeps him in place, and then all your Annihilate hits, so it does a lot more damage. So this is better, but if you go test it yourself, just with Annihilate versus the Unawaken, then it is better. But if you use other moves to stun them in place, then Annihilate is better. Also, it comes out instantly, unlike the other move. Here's the price for Magma. This is definitely the best fruit in the game. I would recommend it. Okay, so now we have Light V2. Now, the only move you want to Unawaken, kinda debatably, is Light Barrage. Now, Light Barrage does a ton of damage, as you'll see right here, but you have to be really, really close, right? So you have to be really, really close, but you get retarded damage. I think it could do like 38,000, 40,000 damage in one attack, but it also doesn't have that much range. So as you guys can see, I just did 35k, but he died. But if I back up just a tiny bit, the damage isn't so good. So it doesn't have a lot of range, but it does have a retarded amount of damage if you're really, really close. So it's not really better for Sea Beast or Hydras or any of those bosses that spawn in the sea. But it is better if you're really, really close. So this move, I mean, depending if you're grinding Sea Beast and Hydras, it is better. But for just in general, probably keep Wrath of God or the V. Here's the prices. Snow V2. So Snow V2 did just get some nerfs on Blizzard Zone for PvP, but in terms of just damage in general, I'm pretty sure they buffed actually the entire fruit because it was so busted in PvP that they turned the entire fruit down. So like everything was like kind of lowish damage, but you could still one-shot with most swords because you can get every single ability off. Now the thing with current day Snow is that it's much worse for PvP, but the damage is a little bit higher. In my opinion, it just feels like everything's a lot stronger. So you definitely want to keep on everything except for Snowstorm, which is the third ability. The third ability is just a lot more consistent and does a lot more damage than the Unawakened. 16,000 damage. I probably hit a crit somewhere in there, 17,000 damage. But yeah, anyways, you definitely want to Unawaken the B. It does have less AoE, and it does less hits, I believe, but it's just a lot more consistent than the third ability. So yeah, definitely rock Snowstorm. So Quake is an interesting one. Quake has two better moves, technically, but I wouldn't really recommend them in general. Now, the moves in question are Violent Crunch, which is a really good move. Stuns, comes out really quick, does good damage. And Fulminate, that is a critical hit, but it usually does 17,000 damage. 7,000 damage. But if you basically Unawaken these two, by the way, I just want to say this right now, you definitely want fully Awaken Quake for PvP. But if you Unawaken these two moves, you walk up to the boss, you actually can end up doing a good amount more than the Awaken, 19,000 damage. It also does stun. It comes out, just the first initial hit is just worse. So the first initial hit is worse than the Awaken on Smack Floor, but it does more damage. So it's really up to you. If you're not really PvPing too much, then go ahead and use Smack Floor Unawakened. But if you have the third ability Awaken, now this just straight up does more damage. So yeah, Destroyer does more damage, a good amount of more damage, almost double, but it doesn't have that stun. And also in PvP, these two moves both crack your screen and blind you. So they're really good for PvP. If you really want that extra damage, you could squeeze out a Quake. Go ahead and Unawaken. Really up to you. Also, here's the prices for Quake. A lot cheaper than they were before. Big W. Okay, so now we're talking about Do. The first ability on Do you definitely want to Unawaken. I'll explain why. If you Unawaken for PvE, it only works on it works on everything PvE. But if you Awaken, it doesn't work on big bosses or raid bosses. So essentially, you can't do hard raid with the first ability, and also Hydras or Sea Beasts, whatever, doesn't get damaged by the first ability. Now, the second ability that I want to talk about that's Unawakened is Sharpened Spike. Sharpened Spike comes out way faster than the Awakened. It doesn't have the AoE, and it doesn't have more damage, but it just comes out so fast that you could use all your other moves, because Dodo has really good cooldowns with the first ability, and it also has Sticky Assault, which is a move that you hold, so you can get your other abilities back. It also has a stun. So having Sharpened Spike on Awakened is pretty good. If you're PvPing though, just Awaken the entire fruit, and if you're fighting smaller targets, it's up to you really. I just usually keep it Awakened because it's sick, but it is technically better to use Sharpened Spike. Also, here is the price of this. Also, I'm just going to unawaken my Dodo because I usually use this for PvP. Please like and sub for more. Also, if you have any questions on any of the fruits I mentioned today, go ahead and ask them down below and I'll be responding. And I'll see you guys in the next one.